good evening, and welcome to the first episode, if you like, of the Bearded Tyke. I'm joined by Dan from the BSC Research Group. Dan, great to have you, pal. Thank you for joining me on the first edition. I was thinking about doing it by myself, but I thought, you know what, I'll end up losing my sen and talking and waffling and doing all sorts of stuff. Been doing a bit of it now, really, to be fair. But I thought it'd be somebody to bring someone along for the ride. We've done plenty of episodes together on Tykes TV, so I thought it'd be a perfect way to start us off. So thanks for coming, mate.
No problem, it's a pleasure.
So, what I'd like to talk about first, if we can, is just talk about why I've set up the channel. It's just really, I've done a lot with Tykes TV. I really enjoyed doing it with Neil, and I'll continue to do, be a guest on Neil's show on Tykes TV. But when we did it, I really enjoyed doing the reviews of the game and the previews. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to have a bash at it myself and see how we crack on. So here we are. So let's see how we bat on. So Luton. So Dan, Luton game. Personally, I thought it was one of the best performances I've seen in certainly this season, probably the last 2 or 3 seasons. I think the first half performance was one of the best I've seen for many a year, if I'm being honest. What were your take on the game, Dan?
I think you've just hit nail on the head. I think there's no other better compliment than that, really, is there? You know, I was trying to think back to a performance that we put on as good as that, and the only one that sprung to mind was we played Derby at home, and I think we beat them 2-1. I think it was towards the end of the Collins season, I believe.
Yeah, the one where we beat him under Duffy as well, weren't we? We beat him 4-1. That were a great days. We were 3-1 up at half time, and yeah.
Yeah, but if we're going that far, if we're going that far back, Ryan, I mean that shows how good performance were. We were confident. We attacked well. We were patient. We were allowing them to have possession of ball. As you know, I'm quite a big fan of that approach, letting them make the mistakes.
Yeah.
And us coming to us rather than us coming to them, and it was brilliant. I mean, the one thing that I was most impressed about, Ryan, and I said it to you, said it to a few others, it was defensive. Defensively, we just looked so solid. It looked like we were really learnt his lessons from the mishaps that came before. I know there was that header back from Josh Earl that didn't go so well, let's say. But Jack Shepherd, and Roberts as well. I don't think he got enough credit as well for
Robbo,
that.
superb,
both getting back.
Yeah, he was superb.
Yeah,
Robbo, mate. He really was. He won everything.
So confident at back, and we were, and after they had that chance through Naki Wells, they didn't even look anywhere close to scoring. They were trying to play it behind back line, and Roberts it were either Roberts or Shepherd, and even like when they were on edge area, there were nobody sort of racing out. We were just positioning ourselves well on either goal from either goalpost, so they couldn't try and bend it in, or they'd have to pull off a right strike to try and get it in the top corner. But yeah, really impressed. Really impressive performance, and thoroughly deserved the win.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I think it was really brave of Connor to take that tactic on, but he got his tactics absolutely spot on, because it's not usual. They're not the usual tactics you take at home. You're usually the ones that are expected to be on the front foot, especially with an attacking side like ourselves. But it's just they've obviously worked on it all week, and they played it out brilliantly. They really did. We give them ball, let them knocking about. And to be fair, I was saying to our Aussie during the game, so they knock ball about well. I'm talking about the beginning of the game. They knock ball about well. But it was so reminiscent of what we've done over the last few weeks when we've let Port Vale and Rotherham. We were at all possession and not being able to do it because we couldn't work them out. And I'm not saying we sat in a low block. I'm not going to go probably as far to say we sat in a low block. But as defensive shape, were brilliant, and it just didn't give him any gaps. And then I think a lot were made, especially with Luton fans, about how poor Luton were on Saturday. But I think the way that we set up and the way that we played had a lot to do with why they were poor.
Yes, definitely. I mean, you've got to bear in mind. I mean, I was that I felt that vindicated because when we make predictions and they come in, and football fans generally feel quite smug when that happens, as many of us have already done. But
Yeah.
the first thing I did at half time, I took a picture at stats, and I think Luton had something. I mean, they had a ridiculous amount of possession
If I
in
remember
the
rightly,
first
we're
half.
about 66, 67%.
Yes, it was, and I've been saying for weeks, I mean, like, you don't mind, you can have so much possession in a football,
Yeah,
but the grand reality is you need to do something with it, and you need to be making those killer
yeah,
passes or trying to. And um, if you don't break down the defence, it means nothing
yeah,
in the grand scheme of things.
absolutely.
And when I looked at those stats at half time, I'm like, yeah, it felt like we've learned that a little bit, and we've tried to focus on our shape, how we organise ourselves, when how to identify when they've got gaps in their defence, and trying to take that step back and use that more. Well, I wouldn't say a technical ability, but use more, be more smart
Yeah.
when we do have the ball. And it were brilliant. And I can't fault any one of them. I think all of them could have won man at match in their
It was
own
one of them. It
in
was
their
one of
own
them
ways.
perfect days, wasn't it, Danny? It was just one of them perfect days where we've turned up, Luton probably hadn't turned up, or we were just the wrong kind of setup for them. It just, they say styles
Mm,
make fights and styles make matches as well, and it's just, I just think we were just too good for them on day, and it just everything seemed to go perfect. We were so good on the counter attack. We were so quick and so rapid. We turned them round so quickly. They just could not get in. Like I said, we had such a great defensive shape. They just couldn't get in behind us at all to create anything like you were on about there to get any shots off. And the possession stats, it's always a funny one with possession stats. I saw it when we played Rotherham because we fell into that argument, with fans saying, well, we had X amount of possession. It's like you said, Anna, you don't mean no. There's no possession percentage column on the league table. That
exactly.
it don't mean no if you don't do no with it. It's useless without it. So, and I just think we created an environment and such a defensive structure that they just couldn't create anything. And the speed that we hit them on the on the counter attack, and I think considering I've heard a lot of it to say about our front line that it's not that pacey. I think now we've got Reyes Cleary in there and we've got some young lads in there as well, like your Yogas and things like that. We've added quite a bit of pace. And when we look dangerous, mate, we look really dangerous on break. And I just think, we tore them a new one on Saturday, especially in that first half.
Oh,
If you
100%. And
think
let's.
we scored 3 goals, three good, great goals as well. But we also had, at least another 3 really clear chances where you'd expect us to potentially score. The Jorgen Nathan one that hit the bar and crossbar at the same time. That were a great run by Patrick Kelly again. What a player Patrick Kelly is, by the way. But a great run, amazing run. Played a lovely ball into Yoga, and then Yoga's taken maybe a touch too far, but he did create himself a bit of space, and he's hit a great shot. Keeper's absolutely nowhere, and it's just unfortunate that it's hit the bar and the crossbar. Then the miss from DKD. And I think I've no problem with it. As people saying, he had loads of time, he had more time, he could have taken the touch. I've no problem with him trying to hit that first time. Catch keeper unawares. Keeper were nowhere, mate. It was just the fact that he tried to place it in bottom corner. He just got it a little bit wrong, and it just went a little bit wide. But I don't mind
Yeah.
that. It shows confidence to
I mean, it
do
worked.
that.
I saw comments about the DKD strike, and I don't know. I suppose we can all be sort of armchair footballers and things like
Exactly.
that. We fall into that trap, don't we? I if it missed by
Missed by a
bloody
cockhead, mate. Is
miles,
what it missed by.
I would have probably said, like, commented on it. But I mean, in reality, you
He's
could tell
trying to do the
exactly
right
what
thing.
I was going to do.
He sent it back other
You
way.
see
Keeper's going that
goalkeeper
way.
run
Keeper
one
were
way
going
on
that
it, and he's
way.
just tried to
Yeah,
slot it. You can't
yeah,
fault him for that. I mean, it didn't come off, but something. So, but yeah, I mean, going back onto attacking, on the attacking front, I think yesterday, God, lose track of days. Saturday, we saw how good a different combination we've got in an attacking sense. So
yeah,
we have like Kelly. Kelly's a very much Kelly DKD are like sort of your Peter where they'll try and break into the box and try and get behind defenders.
yeah,
Even though Kelly's obviously he's a midfielder, he don't really play, but he does like to break forward. And then I think you've got Reyes Cleary, who just wants to take everybody on. If he nutmegs them once, he'll run them back round and try and nutmeg them again. Always great to watch, always good on eye. And then I
Yeah.
think you've got Vimmel, who I'm a massive fan of Vimmel, Young and Nathan. I always try and sing his praises as much
Yeah,
in our
me
group
too,
chat
mate.
as
Yeah, me too. I think
just
he
so.
offers us so much in that midfield because he's a different sort of player. He's big and like John Russell, but John Russell. The only thing that affects John Russell for me is his pace. Whereas Yoga's got it in abundance. I tell you what else he's got. He's got a real bit of spite to his game as well. Not nasty.
Yeah.
I think he's going to go kicking people around and get. Although he got sent off against Bolton, but that was more to the fact that he got involved in something in first half. Not so much the tackle that he put in second half, but he's got a bit of spite to his game. He gets in there. He puts himself about a bit. He's no problem smashing into players and stuff. And he's strong. He's big. He's fast. I think he's really talented. Is he still a bit raw? Yeah, he's definitely still a bit raw. But he's what a talent. I think he's brilliant. Me.
Yeah.
Reyes Cleary.
Of
My
course, I
God,
mean,
what a player Reyes
I
Cleary
mean,
is. He's
you
just
expect him to be a bit raw. You expect him to be a bit raw. We're not wanting. I'm not wanting them to be perfect. They're young lads and they've got to learn the game. And I think it was a little bit. He got sent off against Bolton, obviously, and I think when he got dropped for as many games, I thought it was a little bit unfair, if I'm
yeah.
honest. I mean, he got sent off. Drop lad for a game after he got suspended, after he's come back from his suspension, teach him a bit of a lesson. But I think he did sit on bench a bit too long, and I think we did miss him a little bit.
He did.
But yeah, and as well. I mean, one thing we've got to remember, Ryan, because I don't know if any Luton fans will be trying to access this after we've gone live with it, but you know, I'll give credit to Luton. They were a good side, and they
Yeah.
were a good side. There's no two ways about it. They're there. Didn't they go five unbeaten before they
They've
played us
gone
or
five
week
unbeaten,
four?
mate.
Or
They've gone five unbeaten. I have to
yeah.
say, I was a little bit apprehensive for the game. I thought that we
Oh, I
might
was.
struggle
Yeah.
in last two home games against in league. That in fact, in last three games in total, we hadn't scored a goal at home. That was because we got beat 2-0 in Plastic Cup, which didn't mean I'm not really bothered. It would a kick about because both teams were qualified, so I'm not really that bothered. But the games against Port Vale and Rotherham, we didn't score, and then we're turning up against a team that's not that had 4 clean sheets in a row, and we're unbeaten in 5, and having a bit of a resurgence. And if you look at the amount of money they've got, they should be a lot higher than they are. They seem to be a bit in and out, but they're a good side. So I thought that we could win. If I thought that throughout the season it's been proved that we could got at, but I didn't think not in a million years I think we'd do them 5-0. But fair play to Luton getting beat 5-0 on Saturday and then going home against a good side like Huddersfield and getting a win is shows you that they are a good side. They've
Yeah.
licked the wounds and sorted this out and got a good 3 points against Huddersfield. So. Just want to go run over the goals that we scored in the game against Luton. So, because there were just so many that were just such outstanding, outstanding players. So the first one, again, this is what I was talking about earlier about his ability to break really quickly and turn defence round into attack. So they were knocking ball about. Reyes cleared his pick ball. He's intercepted it. One touch into DKD, and that pass by DKD, by the way, over the top of those defenders into Cleary's path. He's dinked it as well with some backspin, so it fell into his path, and just a lovely little finish. To be fair, could the defender probably, if he'd had maybe tried a bit harder, he might have been able to scoop it round. But it was what a great little dink finish past the keeper.
Yeah.
Then the second goal. Again, there were so many good parts in the build-up to it. Again, it's a great run and a great finish by Patrick Kelly. But in the lead-up, that beautiful ball by Luca over the top, left peg, he swept it round, curled it round to Reyes Cleary on wing. Cleary's just absolutely turned that lad inside out, like he did all game, by the way.
Yeah.
And then Patrick Kelly's made that lovely run. He's tapped it in and he's knocked it in. We played such nice football. And then the free kick.
I think that was.
Absolutely sold it to him, up line and sinky. And always Shep's pushing Mads in here. Look, he's pushing him to the side at Walsh. So they think he's good. He can't be going over at Walsh. It's only from 18, 20 yard out, wasn't it? So the keeper's gone over to that side thinking that's where it's going, and he's just dinked it into empty net on the side. Just absolutely gubbed him. And it rounded off an absolutely perfect half of football. It really did. I have to say, the second half, I thought, it's just being a Barnsley fan, you've got that little bit of thing where you think, oh, please don't come back. please don't come back 3-3. Let's not lose it from here. But the first 5 minutes, it showed Luton didn't come out with any intent, and I think we took over, and we could have had a couple of goals before we actually scored his 4th goal. And then, have you seen about the 4th goal? Did you see the announcement of it on the? I don't know if you've got to it. You've not got to it, have you? The goal.
I haven't. No, unfortunately. Well, I don't check the Twitter regularly.
They've actually awarded it to Watson now. So they awarded it in game, and then it got chalked off to say it was an own goal, and now it's actually got Barnsley must have inquired about it, and they've actually looked at it again. It has actually been given to Nye Watson now, so that's his first goal for Barnsley. So his 4th goal worth thing, because he really did throw himself at that to get it back over. And then 5th goal again was just a brilliant counter attack again. There on the push, we breaks clearly breaks, puts it in DKD, and DKD just slides it in, and it was just a fantastic day, mate. And like I said, I don't think I'm that deluded to think that that's what we're going to do every week, but I think that's a massive step in the right direction after, a really tough game away at Donny, which arguably could have gone either way. Fortunately, it went the way of Barnsley. But then to come in and do Luton 5-0 is a massive step in the right direction. So I think it gives us something to build on, Ryan. And these are the games that when you see, we all go on about, when we've lost at Rotherham or Port Vale, we've all said, we need to learn from these games. We can also learn from these big wins as well, where things have gone really well. I personally think that this is the way we have played Saturday. I.e., we weren't looking to, necessarily press life out and play high up, all this sort of stuff. I think this is way forward. They just look so comfortable. I hope so, mate.
So comfortable.
Yeah, and it's some of the interactions, the way they play, some of the way that DKD and Cleary are playing together. They're linking up so well. The way that when Patrick Kelly's coming in at the team, mate, he's so good with ball at his feet. That kid is so good. He just skins people. He's just in and out. He seems to accelerate really quickly, but he's accelerating under control, knocking ball both ways. It's a really, really good team. Lucas seems to be playing really well. I think, like you touched on earlier, I think the defence, I think the back two, the centre back pair, and I think we've got that right now with Robbo and Shep. Them two seem to be. I think that they're strong, certainly our strongest partnership at centre back. The only thing I didn't understand, and it's not a bad thing, it's just that I don't think it's the Josh Earl at left back, because I don't think Ogbeter has done anything wrong to be dropped at left back, to be fair. But I think Connor really likes Josh Earl, so that's probably why we're in there. But when Ogbeter come on,
I think maybe as well.
To be fair, aside from his mistake with his header, Josh Earl, I thought certainly in second half before he went off, I thought he did really well. He managed it down that side really well myself. But
yeah, I think as well, you've got to bear in mind. I think the thing, reflecting on it, I said, why is Earl left back? Ogbetter and it's. I think it were more maybe wanted to keep the back four more flat and wanted to keep him more. Because, Earl weren't really breaking. I wouldn't say that Earl were massively breaking forward that much. He were leaving it more to Cleary and other midfielders to break forward. So maybe Connor wanted to sort of keep a defender that were, keep a defender. Because, I'm not saying that Ogbetter is not a great defender. He is. But I'd say he's more an attacking fullback. And I think they were more scared that we were going to get caught out, maybe.
Yeah, more of a left wing back, really. But anyway. So, all in all, mate, I think it's a fantastic result, and we hopefully take that kind of form into the next game, which leads us nicely into Stockport. So, Stockport away. If I remember rightly, this last season it was a very difficult fixture for us. I think it'd be an understatement to say that we didn't play very well that day. We lost 2-1 overall.
Yes.
It could have been a lot more. We were so poor that day. But I think Darrell Clark was still manager, wasn't he? I think it was something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. All I remember, Ryan, is it got to half time and I wanted to set my eye out with a spoon. Honestly,
Yeah. It was
it
god
was
awful, wasn't it?
absolutely. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I know I'm going over old wounds here. So anybody who's still traumatised by the incident, please, I apologise now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a terrible game. Peeing
Yeah.
it down with rain.
I
Half
mean,
12
like,
kick-off.
so we move on
It
to
was horrible.
on Saturday, the 12:30 kick-off, which is not my favourite if I'm being perfectly honest, pal. But we go away to Stockport on the back of a really good win. Stockport are on a bit of form. What I'm going to do is just going to share their stats, mate. 2 seconds. Let me see if this works. All right, let me change the share, make that look so we can actually see it. That better? Can you see that all right, mate?
Yeah, I can see that fine, mate.
Beautiful. Right. So let's just come up here then. So have a quick look at some stats. I'm not going to bore us too much with this, mate, but it's just to see how Stockport are cracking on so far this season. So the home form, I mean, overall they've played 8. It's identical across the home form, and apart from the goal scored, the home form, the away form, they've played 8 for both, won 4, drawn 2, and lost 2 of each one. So they're winning 50% of the games. They've won 50% of the games at home. What's interesting is they've only scored 9 goals at home, but conceded 8. They've obviously got 4 wins, so that they are strong at home. And let's face it, Stockport are a very good team. But I think there's this here is the fact that they've not scored many at home this season yet, and they've conceded nearly as many as they've scored. So I think for me, that's a good opportunity for us going there. And 2 seconds. Look at the recent fixtures, however. So they've lost the last 2. They've had a bit of bad form. Listen, we went 5 games without a winning league before the Donny game. I think we lost 3 of them. So I can't remember if we lost 3 or 4 of them. So Bradford had absolutely fantastic start. They've had no winning 16th league. It happens. It's the trials and tribulations of a season, isn't it? It's about you're going to have these times where you do lose a couple on bounce, or you don't get a win in 3 or 4. But you just got to dig your heels in and keep going. Because if you look here, although they've got beat this Luton at home 3-0, this is mad. Look, this league, isn't it? Luton have gone to Stockport 2 weeks ago, or it'll be 3 weeks ago, come Saturday, and they've gubbed Stockport 3-0, and then they've come here and come to Huckle and got beat 5-0. It's just there's just no. This league is so wide open this season. It's mad. And then last Thursday, and I actually watched the game. Last Thursday night, watching Peterborough, who at the time were 22nd, I want to say, who are having a bit of a resurgence under Luke Williams, Peterborough. And they're beaten. They're going to go Stockport 3-0. It were a terrible. It weren't a good performance by Stockport. It really weren't. They were really poor. They just didn't look like. I'll be honest. It didn't look like they were bothered. It was so strange. It was just because I'd watched them against Port Vale away, and especially in that first half, I thought they were absolutely fantastic. And they went to top of the league, and you were like, "Yeah, these guys are really good." Stockport. So they've got it in them. And if you look before this result here, before they lost these 2, they won the last 4, and actually they were unbeaten in 7, and they'd won 5 of those last 7. So it's going to be a really tough game. Where are they in league? The 5th, aren't they? We're 10th, but there's only 4 places between us, but we've got 2 games in hand. So yeah, I'll just come out of that, mate. 2 seconds.
I think this is the thing, Ryan, and it is. I mean, I've not seen a division like this in a while, where they're going through quite long runs of form, and then they're losing, and then they go to grounds where you would expect them to take a win. I mean absolutely no disrespect to Peterborough at all when I say this, but you didn't. I don't think there were many Peterborough fans who walked into that ground saying we could beat them today. They said it.
No,
At least they would have admitted it was going to be a difficult game.
I think under Darren Ferguson, mate, they definitely lose that game. But I think since Luke Williams has come in,
Yeah,
he's sort of turned them around a bit. I think they're still quite a poor squad, really, considering over the years that Peterborough have always been a really good League One side. Always been in,
yeah.
or very up and around the playoffs. They've been into Championship quite a few times. So they're really strong in this league, Peterborough. So, last couple of seasons, because they keep selling their assets and they're just replacing them with lads from non-league and stuff, and it's really, really starting to show. But Luke Williams seems to be getting a tune out of them. They did get beat 1-0 by Stevenage the other night, but that was a fantastic result for them. But they absolutely played Stockport off the park. But what I will say is, we've had some really poor performances this season as well, because I've watched them. Rotherham and Port Vale come to mind, really sharpish. So it's going to be a tough game. I'm under no illusions that because we've beaten Luton 5-0 that we're going to go there and go Stockport. But what I will say is, I think if there's ever a good time to play them, I think it might be a good time to play them. They've got quite a lot of injuries. I believe Ollie Norwood's out, or really is their engine in the middle of the park. I think everything goes through him. He creates so much. He's such a talented lad. So it's it's a bit like when you miss key players at this level, because you don't have the funds. You just don't have players there ready to come in that are equal or near and thereabouts. That are gonna, so there's not going to be a dip in the form. It's always going to happen, and it's unfortunately happening to Stockport at the moment with losing Ollie Norwood. But I think they've got the right backs there, because O'Keefe's been playing. Interesting to hear what the Stockport fans have been saying about Corey O'Keefe.
Can I just get a quick? I have not been keeping an eye on the feedback on Corey O'Keefe. Has it been? What's it looking like?
They're saying the same things that we were saying. Exactly the same things. It's unbelievable that he's just that he's not very good, unfortunately.
Okay.
But yeah, they're not best. But I don't think he's been getting first choice. I think he's been coming in because of injuries, and then they're not going to be able to play him again on. Well, Connor said in his interview actually that they said they're not going to be able to. They're not going to allow him to play. So God knows who's going to be coming in down that right back. So I tell you what, they're in for a bad day up against Ray's Cleary on left wing. So if we're going to play Stockport, I think it might be it's a good time to play him, but. It's League One. Let's see what happens. But I think we go in a strong position. I think we can come away with a win, but I don't think it's not going to be like 5-0. But I think we can maybe 2-1 or maybe a 3-1 win. But what I will say is a draw would also be a decent result. I think any away point realistically is a good point, but I think it will be a good point away at Stockport. And it's not just because they're a good side, Dan. I think it's because if you look at the league table, we're 4 points behind them with 2 games in hand. If we can either draw and stay that far, but if we can get the win and get within a point of them and still be 2 games in hand on them, I think that'll be a really strong position. So
yeah, absolutely. I think the thing is, this is we're just getting on to that point, with Peterborough and stuff. We need to be taking advantage of the fact that there's teams that's having sticky patches of form, and not looking at maybe not going in and saying, okay, Stockport aren't favourites. They've put a hell of a lot of money in the side. You've got to respect job Dave Charlton has done at there.
He's a superb manager, brilliant coach.
But you've got to take it. You've got to put that to one side. And if we want to be up in them playoff places and we want to go to that next level, we are going to have to go to your Stockports. You're going to have to go to your I'm trying to think of it. Teams at a top are Bradford.
Stevenage at top now, mate.
Stevenage doing really well again. Huddersfield, you're going to have to go there and at least get a point to be able to be up there at end of season. As much as we've got to respect Stockport and respect the fact that they're a good side, we've got a job to do, and we've got to go there and do it.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. So just to finish off, and just lastly, I don't know, have you watched the interviews with Connor today on YouTube?
I haven't, mate. No.
I'm not going to go too much into it, but everything seems to be good. But the positive news out of it is that both Patrick Kelly and Shep going off, hobbling a bit, they're both actually fine now. He said they're both just slight knocks and stuff like that, so they both should be available for selection on Saturday. So that's good, because that was a bit of a worry to lose Shep at centre back, because he's been superb, and so is Patrick Kelly. I think, and this is not a slant on any of the midfield at the weekend, because we still went and got another 2 goals, but we seemed to lose a little bit of energy in the midfield when Patrick Kelly went off early in the second half. I don't know if that would have came because Patrick is such a good player and we were missing him, or the fact that we were 3-0 up and gate intensity had gone out of game. But it's not saying anybody played bad. We just seemed to lose that little bit of creative edge that we had all throughout the first half. So it's good to hear that he's going to be going to be available for selection on Saturday. So lastly then, Dan, score predictions. What do we reckon Saturday?
I always love these parts, as you know. I'm not going to back
Make a
against
genius,
my own
or I
team.
beg on your face, mate.
Yeah, you know what? I'm never going to back against my own team, so I'll go 2. I'll go 2-1. 2-1 Barnsley.
Yeah, I was thinking something like the same, but I think I'm going to be a bit braver, and I'm going to say 3-1 Barnsley.
Going away and getting 3 away from home.
So, right then, Dan, thank you very much for joining me on the first edition of the Bearded Tyke. Can we call it a podcast show, whatever you want to say? Bearded Tyke TV, although that's probably a bit close to Tyke's TV, that, but yeah, whatever.
Well, everybody's got a podcast these days, Ryan. So we've got to call it something, mate.
Yeah. So right then, like I said, Dan, really appreciate you joining me, mate. You've made the first edition a lot easier to do, and so I'm not stumbling over my words and stuff like that. So. What I want to say is to all the fans travelling on Saturday, unfortunately I can't be there. Our Oscar plays on a Saturday morning, so there's no chance of me getting to an 12:30 kick-off. So everyone travelling down to the what's it called, Stockport County's ground? What's it called now?
No, it's not county ground. It's not county.
Edley Park. Edley Park. Thank you, mate. So anyone travelling down to Stockport and Edley Park, have a safe journey, and hopefully the Reds come back with 3 points. If you like to like, share and subscribe, see if I can get my subscribers up to more than 8 like I've got now. You've got to start somewhere, haven't you? So thanks very much for joining us, guys. Ta-da.